Everybody, good morning, good morning, good morning. Yeah, yesterday was pretty crazy. I even got caught up in the speculation of what happened to Facebook yesterday, and only because I still have some conspiracy friends on my Facebook, so I do get influenced by their energy. But yeah, sometimes things happen, glitches happen, and if you are paranoid for whatever reason, you're going to make the actions of whatever happens on social media platforms mean something to justify or promote or confirm your cause or theory. So, you know, that used to happen to me too way back when I thought that I was seeing a blue van go by my house all the time, thinking that it was the CIA after me because I'm exposing CIA secrets on Facebook, right? And no, it's just a neighbor down the street who works at some garage that has to drive a blue van. I mean, this is where the mental illness becomes completely out of whack when things happen and you think that it's the government coming after you. You think that it's, I mean, and maybe there are certain things that happen out there, like today, supposedly this guy Gambino was shot because he was dealing in racketeering and he's part of that crime family, and that's over right now. Like 30 years later, somebody gets shot. Holy crap. It's been a while, so it's interesting how that's coming to surface. So, so yeah, I've been cracking down on the conspiracy theorists slash realists, and I'll tell you why. Because it's being taken to an extreme. It really has. I really truly think that humanity is getting better as far as trying to advance our thinking in our society, but we are dealing with very mutated people. So it's very difficult to advance a society and do the best you can and have very good intentions when you're dealing with people who are at a major physical and mental disadvantage. Okay. And so I have, realized that I even took the conspiracy to an extreme to where everything was a conspiracy. There was nothing in it at all that happens in life that just happens because of people's choices based upon their biochemistry. No, I thought it was all contrived. It was a plan by the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, and who else? I don't know, the Clintons, the Trumps, whoever. I mean, you name the enemy of the day, you can fit something that says, oh, yeah, they're now trying to do this and trying to do that, and they're setting this up to have this outcome and setting this up to have this outcome. And maybe there are things that there may be some grains of truth, but not everything. And how do you know what is true and what isn't? So what's the point of even speculating, right? So so I don't get involved with conspiracy stuff. And so this is where it comes with the whole thing with AIDS, okay? Because in my first book, and this is why I say do not, so Patricia, this is for you. My first book is completely, don't even read it. I mean, you can read it, that's fine, but do not promote it, and do not quote anything that I say in that first book, because I came from a conspiracy mentality. I was focusing on the AIDS virus, trying to figure out how we're getting this cancer disease and chronic illness in our society. Because I'm like, because I didn't know science too much back then. I knew science, but I didn't know the science to the extent that I know today, given that people held my feet to the fire and I had to go and do more research to confirm everything. But I was trying to look for evidence to show that, well, disease doesn't just materialize, it has to be introduced. And the only way that I could justify how it's introduced is by, oh yeah, the vaccine schedule. This is how they introduce all these diseases. And then, oh yeah, that's where AIDS came from. So that was my mentality back then, because I was an anti-vaxxer back then. So of course I was going to say that it was all contrived, it's all planned out and everything. So my first book is The Ramblings of a Conspiracy Theorist. So if you knew me way back when, and you read my thought process back then, you are going to see a very vast difference today as far as my mentality and where I'm at as far as the thought process and even physically. Okay. So somebody on my Facebook was trying to do this conspiracy stuff a month or so ago, saying that the AIDS virus was a made up virus. It doesn't even exist. Da, 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 da. And then you see all these videos on YouTube and websites. And I'll tell you what, anybody, if they have a specific agenda and they have enough evidence, I guess, on the internet to justify a story, anybody can put out some kind of claim. Anybody could. I mean, people say even Jillian could be like, oh yeah, she's making up stuff just so she can sell books. Yeah, okay, whatever. But no, the AIDS virus, yeah, it's kind of crazy how it hit a lot of different people, and maybe some political action groups that, it hit them maybe a lot more. And I can't tell you exactly why certain areas like in San Francisco got hit more, but it seems that that AIDS is not like, it doesn't discriminate. Okay. I mean, if you've been exposed to it, you're going to get the antibody. And then if you have a weak system, then yeah, it's going to turn to the AIDS virus. But where AIDS came from, now I kind of like I have a better idea that's not so conspiracy, okay? Because yeah, we can speculate and have an argument till the day is done, till the sun comes up and sun comes down, where all these diseases come from. And so if you come from a conspiracy world, then you're going to say that the vaccines and a nefarious government introduced the AIDS virus and all these diseases into our world. Or mutated humans traveling to different parts of the country, communing with foreign animals or communing with exotic animals, having bacteria mix and mutate and agglutinate and then bring some kind of disease back to America. That's not too far from the realm of possibility either. Why couldn't we come from there? Because we know that when someone doesn't take care of themselves, let's say they're in a coal mine and they're not taking care of themselves and they breathe in the coal dust, how does tuberculosis happen? When someone doesn't take care of themselves and they're being exposed to elements that are working against them. I mean, that's what happens right now in our society. People don't take care of themselves, or smoking pot left and right and trying to manage their mutations with pot or with painkillers or with alcohol. And then guess what? They're having more issues. They're aging. They're triggering autoimmunity. They're triggering other types of weird exotic diseases that they're like, oh, where the hell did this come from? My parents didn't have this. Nobody has this. I'm an alien. Oh no, these diseases mutate along with mutated people having children. This is where the whole thing with the autism. Where does autism come from? They're like, oh yeah, it must be the mercury in the vaccines. And this is the going thought process now, because no one has ever introduced the fact that reproduction comes from mutations. And mutation, like death, is a mutation. So when you're on a death trajectory, the body doesn't want to trigger extinction. And so it reproduces. So guess what? You're having children on top of mutations and then mutating those bacteria and strains and antibodies and the natural immunity. And you're mixing in with a population that is very, very mobile from one continent to the next with other different biochemistries. This is why we have now probably a lot more cases of what potentially could cause autism. Not because of the vaccines, because we have people who are highly pathogenic. Okay, and then guess what? Certain biochemistries. It's like, why only some people get autism? Because obviously it isn't the vaccines, guys, or everybody would have autism. This is where the pro-vaxxers definitely have a point to you anti-vaxxers that want to blame vaccines for the autism. The pro-vaxxers have a point. Not everybody gets autism. Not everybody gets seizures from the Rogam shot. Not everybody gets whatever issue of the day that someone wants to blame a vaccine for. And so yeah, I can see why the CDC and everybody is cracking down on misinformation, because we have mentally ill people that don't know really the root cause. And if someone gives them an idea of what the root cause could potentially be, oh, I'm going to get laughed at. I've been laughed at right now, because yes, when you start attacking children, but not really, but when you start saying that children come from mutations, some people are going to take major offense to that, because they don't want to even see that they're mutated themselves. But guess what? When you have all this agglutination of antibodies with all the antigen and your lifestyle and your mentality, and you're having kids who are now having that disease mutate in some way, and then they're exposed to, because they have to get vaccinated, because they're exposed to all these people that are not taking care of themselves. Okay, yeah, it's going to create a chemistry. And then guess what? Some kids are going to get autism. Other kids may get juvenile diabetes. Other kids may get juvenile Alzheimer's. Other kids may get, Down syndrome. Other kids may get this. I mean, it's like, and I can't tell you exactly the type of biochemistry that would trigger Down syndrome. Why does it happen? Like in one person in a family, or a few. You can go study each family. Go look at people who have Down syndrome in their family. Take a look at everybody. Okay? Here's the thing. When you have mutations, you don't know really what kind of exotic disease is going to manifest. And some may be just stuff that people already know about, like Down syndrome, like, I don't know. I mean, like all these different cancers and diseases. But it's because we are not fixing the mutations. We are compounding the mutations upon mutations upon mutations. And then, yes, we're going to see a rise. If you want to look at the statistics on autism, you can't make the direct correlation. It's the vaccines. It's the people sticking their head in the sand. It's the people doing all the pot. It's the people. The reason why it's people doing all the pot is because they're actually not reversing and fixing the mutations. They are blocking the prostaglandin hormone that aids in the healing process. So you are sustaining a mutation. You're not triggering autophagy. Okay? See, there's two parts of the immune system. There's the autophagy part, which all the holistic people have figured out the autophagy part, fasting and detoxing and all this stuff, right? But they haven't figured out the other side of it, which is fixing the mutation. So that way, this mutation in the body doesn't shapeshift into another exotic disease and having children. Because remember, reproduction comes from mutations. Okay? So when you're having children on top of all your mutations, guess what? We're going to have some exotic, crazy-ass disease somewhere down in the future. And then they're going to blame biotech. Then they're going to blame the vaccine schedule. Then they're going to blame who knows, instead of actually blaming themselves. And Emmy made a very good point that once I shift the focus off of biotech and the vaccines, and the parents actually have to take some responsibility, it's going to induce a lot of guilt. But hey, you didn't know, so there shouldn't be any guilt. And thanks, Patricia. You didn't know. People don't know until someone introduces new information to consider. Doesn't mean you have to believe it, okay? Nothing that I say you have to believe, but it is information that needs to be considered, given that we understand how reproduction works, how regeneration works out there in nature. When you have winter, right now we're in winter, but now we're heading into spring, guess what? We're going to have warmer weather. Guess what? The bunnies are going to have a litter of babies. Guess what? The trees are going to bloom with buds, and then fruit-bearing trees will then have fruit. And let's see, what else? And then you're going to have warm, and you're going to have bugs. All of life is going to come to life from spring, from regeneration, and litters are going to happen, and baby cubs are going to happen, and puppies potentially could happen, and even people having babies. Okay, and then you have summer. Summer's where nothing is upsetting homeostasis. It's just straight, even summer. Now, there might be an upset of homeostasis, which is like tornadoes, which would then rip apart a community. But if you didn't have tornadoes and you had just continuous warm weather, there wouldn't be any upset of homeostasis. It's just life. And then, oh my gosh, then fall happens. This trees start changing, the winter, or the air gets colder. Animals go into hibernation, movement starts ceasing or becoming more, they're lessening of the movement because or they're maybe moving more because they're now scurrying around collecting food for the winter. And then winter happens, movement ceases for the most part, unless you're a winter animal. Okay, so that's no different than the human body when it goes through upset of homeostasis. Okay, so when you go through upset of homeostasis, this is where the death process happens. This is where reproduction happens. This is where the mutations are being compounded. So it's not, so this is for Jennifer, who I know is a major anti-vaxxer. Autism should never be tied to vaccines because not everybody gets autism from the vaccine. The only way that you can you say correlation equals causation is if you take somebody and you drown them and then they die. We know that water, when it fills up in the lungs, it will kill a person. There is no, well, correlation doesn't mean causation. You can't play that. But when it comes to the biochemistry and people reproducing on mutations, and they're not fixing the mutations, and we have very similar biochemistries out there, not all the same, but we have similar biochemistries out there that have people that do get triggered with diabetes, obesity, autism, lupus, and you study all of those different biochemistries, you will see that there are similarities of why it is they triggered those specific disease. Why did I not get lupus or fibromyalgia? Because my biochemistry was different than that other person, because I had a different set of mutations than you or somebody else. But it's still mutations that I had to deal with. But I had similar mutations and other people that had that experience PMDD. I mean, my biggest thing was premenstrual dysphoric disorder. But I'm not going to blame the vaccines. I'm going to blame the fact that, hey, I already had mutations, and then my lifestyle then compounded those mutations. Okay? So it's like, we have to now understand how the body works. Instead of blaming vaccines, this is for Patty Collette too, instead of blaming the vaccines and saying, oh yeah, the measles, it's not a problem. It's a problem to someone that is majorly mutated, has a very low functioning immune system, which means they don't have a lot of antibodies, and they get exposed to someone that is completely pathogenic, who doesn't take care of themselves. Guess what? Their pathogens are going to completely overwhelm that mutated person that has a weak functioning immune system, doesn't have a lot of antibodies. And that's how someone could die from the measles. Not everybody dies from the measles because they have, a relatively functioning immune system. But some people have a very weak functioning immune system. So it's like mixing blood types, incompatible blood types. When you get exposed to so much antigen from a very pathogenic person, and the elderly and the mutated and the sick are pathogenic, alcoholics are pathogenic. Jeff Holiday is pathogenic because he's talking about me right now, and I'm going to talk about him. Okay, he drinks alcohol and he's talking smack about me, so he's pathogenic. Okay, so his pathogens are going to then kill off somebody who has a very weak immune system. So we can't say that the measles isn't deadly, because how do you say that? You can't prove that measles. Yes, it can be deadly to this person. People have died from the measles because they have a weak immune system. So do you want to blame the measles? Or you want to blame the person? Or do you want to say, hey, yeah, we don't know what people bring to the table, so let's just go and fix the mutations so you don't ever have to have this measles that goes on for like a month or 2 months or a few weeks where you're pathogenic. Because see, like myself, my husband right now, he caught like the cold. Okay, so he's dealing with the cold right now. I haven't been sick. I've been around him. He's been incubating this cold, but he's sick right now. But I'm not. Why am I not sick? Now, I'm not like, I'm not like, overactive immune system. I don't have some kind of autoimmunity going on. No, I have jelly juice. Okay? I have a jelly juice. So I may have been exposed to whatever pathogen that he was never exposed to, or I may have been exposed to it already, and then my body fought it off. But let's say it's a new pathogen that our body doesn't recognize. Well, I may have got hit with it for a minute. I may have been tired. Who knows what would have, what kind of inflammation I would have received given a new pathogen in my area. But I wasn't inflamed. I wasn't, hacking out stuff. I'm not sick. I don't have all these antibodies being produced. I don't have symptoms or anything. So guess what? I'm not a walking germ. But guess what? He is. So he actually is more detrimental to the population than I am. Because guess what? I'm well. So wouldn't it behoove you, Patty Collette, to promote Jilly Juice instead of promoting saying how measles isn't a bad thing? From Health Impact News. Because yeah, I mean, yeah, I know what these PhDs are saying. Oh yeah, the measles isn't really a horrible thing. The measles isn't bad. It can be to somebody who is very, very weak, and you don't know from one day to the next who is weak. So instead of saying, okay, it's okay to be sick and just breathe your germs off of everybody, why don't you work on getting 100% well? So when you get exposed to a pathogen, you're not an incubating germ carrier that's passing along all the germs, that then what happens is it mutates into a more exotic disease, and then guess what, we have these new diseases out there because you're not worried about the measles. So now, yeah, we're seeing more outbreaks of the measles, and guess what that's going to do? We're going to have now, instead of 24 strains of measles, we're going to have 25 and 26 because people aren't worried about being sick. They're not worried about being well. They don't mind being sick. They're okay with just spreading their germs and having it mutate. And they're okay with having children on top of that. Okay? We really have to come from a very different perspective when it comes to understanding what causes all of these diseases. And denying that AIDS ever existed, it was a made-up disease, is why I really went after, hey, Masa, this girl on my Facebook who she hasn't at all, she defriended me. So I just blocked her. But that sucks. But I'm not going to play with the conspiracy people who are denying that some of these diseases do. Yes, they exist. They do exist because people do travel. They have mutations and they're having children who have mutations. It's just a matter of time when a new disease is going to come up. And what are you going to say? You're going to blame biotech for trying to create another drug? Which, yeah, I could see where someone, if they're a conspiracy theorist, would make that assumption. But instead of worrying about that, why don't you worry about getting 100% well? Why don't you worry about promoting J-Juice to where you understand that no matter what your belief system and where these diseases came from and who's at fault, that you actually build up and reinforce the nutrition, the strategic nutrition. And then when you do get hit with some pathogen your body doesn't recognize, it's not going to go into some major crazy long-term inflammation. Okay? So this is where you guys need to come from. Being this anti-vax is not helping your friends. Diminishing the power of the measles on a very mutated body is not helping your friends or you. It actually makes you look like you don't know what you're talking about. So I understand why it is that people are now, that they're now cracking down, because people are not understanding that because here's the thing, biotech is reacting to reproduction. When you are reproducing on a mutated body, you're gonna have weaker children. Do you see, just like what is it, multiplicity? And that was actually like what life imitates art, art imitates life. When that guy, what's his name, I forget his name, he played in Batman, he made copies of himself. Well, that's reproduction. That's basically cloning. So whenever you reproduce, you're reproducing a lesser version of yourself, because now you're taking not only your mutations that are going to impact that child, but also the partner's mutations. So now you have two sets of DNA strands that are now getting into one with two sets of mutations. And now you've made a cauldron of pathogens that this kid is now going to be afflicted with. And then guess what? They're now a new germ spreading, they're a new carrier of disease. Children are new carriers of disease. This is why we see the reasoning behind this. This is not the cause. This is a reflection of people not taking care of the mutations. Now, is it possible to have children and not have as many mutations? Yeah, it's possible. Or here's the thing, even though, yeah, you may have a few mutations to warrant reproduction, okay, you can still get your kids' health 100% if you start them out correctly. It's the kids that are not starting out correctly that are now compounding their mutations into physical disabilities and mental illness. And so right now, with people who are sticking their heads in the sand, worried about cannabis and pot all the time, completely oblivious to their child's idiosyncrasies, guess what? We're going to see some pretty interesting behavioral types of things happen in the near future. school shootings. What else? I don't know. More idiocracy going on. I mean, yes, idiocracy was like, you know, a documentary. But this is comes from, see, here's the thing. This is my whole point on all this here. This is my little slides that I've got to redo, but this is what I'm talking about. We have a balance of the universe, okay? Everything on Earth is natural. Everything on Earth has a purpose. So this is why, where those of you who are wondering, like, what do I do with my life? Well, you have a purpose, but you got to create that purpose. And it's not just being a conspiracy theorist, anti-vaxxer, because that's very narrow and it's not serving you anymore. So it's time to segue, right? Everything on Earth strikes a balance with a purpose. The periodic tables, chemistry, and balance. So you have the periodic tables, which is basically chemistry. And then you have, yeah, well, there's biochemistry too. Well, here you go. The biochemistry is the chemistry of biology. And then there is the chemistry of life. So this is what we are all chalked down to, is basically chemistry and biochemistry, and how do the elements impact and adhere to or violate the laws, and then what manifests, okay? So that's the balance of the universe, and your body is part of the universe. And here's natural law: life, death, and reproduction. I could just say it's just life and death, but reproduction comes from death. And since we are all about having babies and all about reproduction, all about sexual orientation, I have to mention reproduction because that's going to hit home for most of you, especially who you anti-vaxxers are. They're so concerned about babies, but you have zero concern about grandma. This is where the hypocrisy completely is so profound, is that everybody's worried about the babies. Oh yeah, save the babies from abortion, save the babies from abortion, but nobody gives a shit about grandma sitting in that nursery home getting her ass wiped by someone who doesn't give a shit about her. People throw away, they dispose of their parents in nursing homes because they can't do anything about it. It's not by purpose, like not that they're in malintent, it's because they're not worried about how to keep the body alive. They're too worried about having babies born on mutations. See the loop that you're going into? So life is a consequence. Yeah, life is a consequence. You adhere to the laws, you're going to have continuous life. Okay? And jelly juice is life. Jelly juice is not antibiotic, it's probiotic. It was proven by the lab that said that it's 13 million colony forming units. So nutrients regenerate cells energized by good salt, which is the pink salt, water as a carrier force. Then you have the recipe of the cabbage nutrients and the kale nutrients. And you know the cruciferous vegetables are good for you. But do you have access to those nutrients? Not on a mutated body, you don't. That's why you're not seeing continuous indefinite life. So now we have to learn how to break those nutrients or break the cabbage and kale down so you actually can have access to the vitamins. No different than mother's milk. However, mother's milk is more pathogenic than my juice. You know why? Because of all the antibiotics in there. Her natural immunity that she's passing down to the kid. There is nothing antibiotic. There are no antibodies. There's no natural immunity in this. There is nothing antibiotic in this. But mother's milk has antibiotics, has antibodies in it because they are mutations the mother never truly fixed. Now, here's the thing. When you have antibodies, let's say you test positive for a test, it means you have a lot of antibodies. It means you test positive, and when you have a lot of antibodies, it could mean that you have layers of protection based upon the government standards, or it means that you may eventually go into inflammation someday. So you could be HIV positive and not have AIDS. See, AIDS is when you have so many antibodies agglutinating, and then it turns into then now a virus that is wreaking havoc, and you're seeing the symptoms. Okay? So when you are a mother passing along those antibodies to the kid, okay, so maybe you have 1 or 2 antibodies or whatever that number is, and maybe the kid does suffer a little bit from those antibodies. Okay, well then you as a mom will then go and fix the mutation, keep the antibodies at bay, and keep that kid healthy with the right strategic nutrition. Not elderberry syrup, not all of this kombucha and all this crap that you see in the holistic allopathic, but actual strategic nutrition. So that way this kid will now have a trained palate to not crave so much freaking sugar and sweets. Now, sugar is necessary, but too much of it will then cause an imbalance in your yeast. Okay? So anyways, so salt is the energizer. So this is where, yeah, so anyways. So salt is the energizer force. Lactofermentation, lactobacillus is cancer's mortal enemy. And the byproduct of the fermentation process. It's friendly bacteria. This what makes this a live drink. Healing symptoms. Okay, so on Dr. Phil, those ladies are like, oh, I had a stroke. Oh, I had, diarrhea. And then Jeff Holiday is like capitalizing Mr. YouTuber, right? Which is great. I'm so happy to line his pockets. But yeah, the salt will energize the salt, and the nutrients are going to energize the conditions that your body is in, and then the healing symptoms, the pain, is based upon releasing the prostaglandin hormone that aids in the healing process. Antibiotics and pot and cannabis and anti-inflammatories and detoxes and all that stuff block the prostaglandin hormone, and they also block the calcineurin hormone that aids in autophagy to then release all of the mutated cells or disassemble mutated cells to allow then for cell regeneration to happen. So all of your practices in the allopathic holistic world are actually inhibiting the good hormones to actually work to your advantage, okay? So Jilly Juice has healing symptoms. You're going to feel pain, all right? But pain is healing. So yes, Dr. Phil capitalized on the ignorance of those ladies. But hey, guess what? That's what they were there for, is to capitalize, sensationalize. And yeah, I got a little traction out of that too. But hey, whatever. And then the pain is healing for past, present, and future triggers. So past issues like you broke your leg and it didn't heal properly, so you're going to feel pain in the areas of where you had those injuries, and maybe some past issues like PTSD. And hey, you may have been a drug addict doing psychedelics, so that may come up to surface too. You may be experiencing a revisitation of some of your psychedelic experiences. I don't know. It depends on what you've done in the past, what you've abused in the past. That is now part of the mutations in your body. And then your present issues, whatever you came into this Jilly Juice for, right? And then future triggers. Those are the antibodies. Those are the things, those are the issues that will come to surface. So say you have a lot of antibodies that haven't triggered yet, but they're going to trigger at some point, because that's what happens when people when dropped from autoimmune disorders, because they have all these antibodies that overproduce, and then one day it's going to just turn into some crazy disease. Well, yeah, you're going to be basically lessening the antibody. You'll be diluting those antibodies, and those antibodies are going to almost burst and trigger proactively, and then you will deal with the pain. The prostaglandin will heal, because that's what happens, right? Is when you have so many antibodies that haven't triggered yet, and when they do trigger, you're going to feel pain, because yes, they are damaging, but yes, you're going to actually then heal from those future triggers. Because when you die from a heart attack, is because you have all of this antibodies that are coagulating, flocculating, agglutinating in your body, and then it gets so thick. That's when heart attacks happen, because you haven't diluted and kept those antibodies at bay, along with keeping your cancer at bay and balanced, along with keeping your hormones at bay and balanced. Okay, so that's what future triggers are, is you're actually diluting the antibodies so that they don't agglutinate and turn into some crazy ass event that you don't want to have to remember and tattoo on your arm. Okay, diets. The diet let you know what induces natural killer cells to induce hormones, which causes imbalance. So yeah, the diet that I have, J Juice, all you got to do is go get my book, and it'll tell you, stay away from the lemons and limes, stay away from the pills, powders, supplements, and legumes, and the different sugars and the carbs, because right now you guys are so heavily imbalanced, full of sugar, full of cancer, that you don't need any more sugar. But yes, you can have potatoes, because that's part of the diet, and yes, you can have fruit, because we're not trying to eradicate sugar altogether, because you need sugar, but you don't need as much as you've been eating. Okay, so that's why the diet is there, is to kind of basically control some of your intake, but really the predominant common denominator is the Jilly Juice, first and foremost. Okay, so what also keeps us alive can kill us with imbalance, and that is yeast, that is antibodies, and that is hormones. Any of those things that are imbalanced are going to cause then your death. You get them all well balanced, and you can't intellectualize and try to control the balance of your yeast or your antibodies or your hormones. You have to take in strategic nutrition to then will disseminate to the proper channels, and then it will balance out the hormones according to the intellect of your body, the rules of your body, the business process of your body that you can't go and try to control. You can't control your heartbeat when you're sleeping, can you? No. You can't control how it is that your body digests food while you're sleeping. No, your body has an intelligence that you can't control, but the system tries to control the intelligence of your body, and guess what? It creates mutations. Look at your friends and family when they're taking all of their pills, powder, supplements, and prescription drugs. That's a system trying to control your body's mechanisms, and they're not doing a very good job because guess what? You guys are dying at the end. All right, so there's that. So death is a consequence. In the allopathic and the holistic world, both violate the laws of the body and the immune system. They're either overacting, they're encouraging it, or they are inhibiting your immune system. So with the whole thing with the RhoGAM shot, what they're doing is they're inhibiting the antibodies because the mother is Rh negative and the father is Rh positive. Why can't the father just go and dilute his antibodies so the mother doesn't have to take a RhoGAM shot to suppress her immune system to stop the antibodies from attacking future babies? Because that's what the whole point is, right? You have an Rh positive father, well, that's a virus that's positive in the blood of the baby. So the mother has an Rh baby in the future. If she didn't do the RhoGAM shot, allegedly, then yeah, the antibodies that she created from being exposed to this Rh positive baby is then going to attack the future baby. Okay, because as soon as you get exposed to a pathogen, the body starts creating antibodies. That's what antibodies are. They're anti-life. They completely attack life. It's like chemotherapy. It neutralizes everything in existence. Sometimes chemotherapy can save a person's life if they can afford to take that on. Sometimes it can kill you. It all depends on your biochemistry. And you can't say that chemo is a killer 100%, because some people have actually been saved their life from chemo, as well as cannabis. But cannabis can kill and can also save, but so can chemo. But why roll the dice? Why even go there? Okay, so yeah, when you're taking on all of these types of natural killer cell type stuff, blocking the prostaglandin hormone and all of that, yeah, you're not oh man, I'm talking really fast. But yeah, you're not aiding in the healing process. That's basically what it is. When you're taking in the antibiotics, pathogens, and all that stuff, it creates natural killer cells. And so yes, the RhoGAM shot, I lost train of thought for a minute. But yeah, the RhoGAM shot does that. So why couldn't the father, take the jelly juice, reduce those or reduce the antibodies to make him Rh negative, change his blood type so the mother doesn't have to take immune suppressing shots? Okay, so I mean, so there's that. And then what else? I mean, when it comes to activating the immune system or inhibiting, well, look at AIDS. AIDS is where you're not creating any antibodies at all whatsoever. So that's a mutation in the biochemistry, because a person has left the mutations without reversing them. They didn't fix the mutations, and so they were susceptible to some crazy disease that mutated and mixed with their blood and created this AIDS virus that destroys your immune system. And so, which means that you're not going to be creating antibodies. So any kind of pathogen will just take you down because you have no defense system. I mean, what other area that you would inhibit or encourage? Well, yeah, I mean, the vaccines. Here's the thing. If you're not taking care of your body, if you are not taking care of your body and you're eating whatever the hell you want, you're drinking alcohol, smoking your cigarettes, okay, fine, smoking your pot, okay, fine. Well, yeah, you're going to be lowering your strength. You're going to be weakening your body, which means you're going to be susceptible to all these crazy pathogens. So guess what the CDC says? Okay, since we can't legislate morals, we can't stop you from drinking alcohol, smoking your pot, doing all this stuff, we got to give you some layer of protection. So that way you're not pathogenic for one, which you will be for a certain amount of time taking these vaccines. But hey, that's how you create antibodies. But we want to protect you from any major disease that could potentially take you down. Okay? So they say, hey, everybody gets vaccinated. So they give you some layer of protection. That's why babies get vaccinated. So they get layer of protection. Not all babies survive it because they have issues. They have a lot of mutations. And now, hopefully, with this, the whole thing with SIDS, the sudden infant death syndrome, yeah, that's probably the pathogens and everything agglutinating. Okay? And the antigen agglutinating. And that's probably what causes the baby to suddenly die. And then they try to blame it on the parents, like the shaken baby syndrome. No, it's not shaken baby syndrome. It's just, the baby couldn't afford. But now, hopefully, science has now been able to test babies if they can handle, or they spread the vaccines apart. Okay? So either way, if you're not reinforcing nutrition in your baby or you got to have a layer of protection. So that's why they are messing with your immune system, because you're not willing to fix the mutations and reinforce your body yourself So now science has to come in and help the population stay alive for a certain amount of time. Okay? I mean, how else are they messing with your immune system or doing stuff? Well, yeah, the whole cancer virus. Okay? Or the cancer vaccine. I'm sorry, the cancer vaccine. When they're taking your cancer cells and putting them in an injection, in a vaccine, and then injecting you with it, then the body creates antibodies to go after that. But then what happens is that, you get inflammation. It may go after that stuff, but now you're going to see other mutations happen because now you're collecting antibodies. You're having an imbalance. See, these things that are happening in the allopathic holistic industry, messing with your immune system, it's throwing everything off balance. Everything in the holistic allopathic with all the immunotherapies. That's what immunotherapies is. It's activating or inhibiting your immune system based upon the intention. And when you're doing that, you're throwing the balance off your body. Okay, because there are other issues, or there are other systems that are going to get impacted. But it's a shortcut, and people are going to make money on these shortcuts. There are kids right now that are inventing things to help with the shortcuts, like this kid that invented a machine to then detect pancreatic cancer without completely putting that patient at a disadvantage. So he's going to make money down the road because we are dealing now with more and more mutated people. More and more mutated people that are going to warrant more and more inventions. And I'm thinking, like, how the hell is this going to work? Well, hey, the more mutated you are, the more cash cow you are to someone to create an invention. Okay? So you're going to see a lot of money and a lot of mutations. You're going to see a lot of reproduction, a lot of mutations. You're going to see a lot of heart-rending stories about kids with all of these diseases at these children's hospitals. And it's because these are kids that had parents that have mutations. The kid had this crazy exotic disease. And so what science does is they find a way to deal with this exotic disease, kind of get them to where they have a relatively okay life. And that's all they can do. Sometimes the kid will die anyway, sometimes they won't. But that's what they do is experimentation, okay? Because they're not getting to the root cause, fixing the actual mutations in the parents. So they're not bearing these children, okay, that are pathogenic. And so, I was going to go to this next thing about, but I'm not going to go there. It's about reproduction. But I mean, this is heavy on my ears. But yeah, I mean, there's going to go the chemtrails, experimentation. Okay, hold on. So you're seeing that the weather change a lot. You're seeing that there's now like feet and feet and feet of snow over in California. Like they're going to have snow all the way until July, which that's pretty crazy. So you know that chemtrails or geoengineering is happening. It's not denied, you can't deny it, but it's not detrimental to your health. Breathing in the barium and the strontium and aluminum is no different than you eating the processed foods that have all the same stuff. Guess what? You have an immune system. You have access to the elements, strategic nutrition to counter those forces. The chemtrails are not going to be an issue. However, right now they're experimenting with the weather. So maybe they experiment with the weather where they had major droughts that happen. And now they have major snow and major rain and storms. And now we're having this bombogenesis storm in the middle of the U.S., and that could have been a result of the geoengineering. Maybe they're experimenting to figure out how we can now have a milder climate. I don't know. I'm only speculating. But the same thing with the 5G. Maybe that when they were testing out 5G in that one area in Europe, and yes, there were birds that died. Well, yeah, experimentation, when you're dealing with trying to promote advanced technology, you guys want to have faster internet, faster this. We have a surveillance society, okay, because now we want to be able to solve crime faster, make sure we don't have terrorists, people who are imbalanced, not just the people overseas, in different continents, but our own people here on an American soil who are majorly imbalanced, to think the government's out to get them, to think that they're being forced vaccinated and that's a horrible thing. If you do J-juice, don't worry about it. If you keep yourself healthy, don't worry about it. They're not putting you in a gas chamber, but they can't legislate morals. So with all this experimentation that goes on, it has to happen, and mistakes are going to happen. guess what? In the beginning, when I first did this, I made mistakes of saying certain things, saying certain procreation categories that were very politically incorrect, but I was in the middle of my, I would say, rolling out my research, and I did my research out loud. So yeah, I got a lot of bad press for a lot of things. But then turns out that, we don't know what normal is. When it comes to reproduction, everybody's mutated. So everybody's mutated equally. Okay, so there's no discrimination there. All right, but yeah, Dr. Phil, man, he really just, he had fun with me. And then, so reproduction, and then also with the mother's milk. I got under fire because of me saying that jelly juice is better than mother's milk. And actually, I was right. Mother's milk is more pathogenic than jelly juice. And even if you have a baby, it means that you're mutated. So no matter what, even if you're 100% well, which means that potentially, theoretically, you wouldn't be bearing children. You would actually have to mutate your body to then reproduce, which means that your baby is going to be mutated. So your milk is going to be mutated because that's what caused you to be fertile to begin with. Okay? So there's not going to be any mother's milk that's going to be 100% wonderful. There's going to be levels of severity of pathogens. So you have a very pathogenic mother out there who has major crazy cancer disease and chronic illness. Would you want to have her milk go to your baby? If you're wondering who it is you want to feed your baby, if you had a choice of somebody's milk, I wouldn't want to have mother's milk from somebody that's completely pathogenic, mutated, and has cancer disease and chronic illness. Oh, hell no. I would rather give them J juice because there's no antibodies in J juice. It's not antibiotic. So I was right when it comes to the whole mother's milk as like a jelly juice is probably preferably better. It's probably preferably better than even the soy stuff. But hey, if you're not going to do mother's milk and you're not going to do J juice, which, okay, I get that completely. Well, then there's soy, but then soy, it's a hormone disruptor. So, but whatever, you can mix it with J juice. It's like having children, no matter what, you're going to be dealing with pathogens. You're going to be dealing with mutations. You can't get away from it because of mere thought of reproduction. It comes from mutations. So you got to get off the anti-vax train. You got to get off the, oh my God, they're killing our babies. No, you guys are killing your own babies with the mutations that you are sustaining. Let's say if you fix most of your mutations and you want to have a kid, guess what? That kid's not going to be half as mutated as it would have been if you hadn't fixed this stuff to begin with. Okay? Fix most of your mutations and then go have a child. So that way you're not working with, you're working with less issues. You see where I'm going? Okay, so yeah. Wow. So this right here, this is a reflection of humanity. This is a reflection, not because the CDC isn't doing this, but this is a reflection of the mutations that we are sustaining. And a lot of you who are, in your elderly are doing this, J juice, God bless you. God bless you that you're trying to fix your mutations, because a person in hospice is so mutated and so pathogenic. Like, seriously, you breathe the same air of somebody that is very, 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 very sick. It's going to mix with your biochemistry. And then you're going to breathe on somebody else and mix in with their biochemistry. And then guess what? We have a new disease. So I applaud anybody that is in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s to do J juice, because you're trying to fix the mutations. You're trying to bring to surface the things that are going to take you down and deal with it, and then get it out of your system, fix the mutations, regenerate cells, and bring yourself back to right there in the middle where we should be. We're not bringing you back to juvenile state. We're not asexual like that, like the jellyfish, okay? Someone tried to make this comparison of immortality. No, we're bringing you right back to middle. Granny and baby both deserve to live. Baby needs to develop, and they're coming at a disadvantage because baby is very mutated because it came from a mutated mother. So the baby needs to develop, and then it needs to grow, and then basically stop at middle age. When you start decaying, you start aging, that's decaying. That's where you are violating the laws. Okay, and we're seeing that now in kids, that they're starting to decay at a younger age. I mean, menses are happening for people who are like 11. 10, 9. That's not because of the vaccines, it's because we have mutated generations. Every generation compounds a mutation. This is what this is the story. Now you can create a story and say, oh yeah, they didn't have as many vaccines back then, and then they started to increase more. But why did they increase the vaccines? Oh, because humanity is the one that's mutated. They're reacting to humanity. Okay? So biotech is a reflection of humanity. And so, yeah, when you have these vaccines scheduled for these specific time periods, it's because the parents were so pathogenic and they created pathogenic kids. Now they have all the diseases swimming around in the population. And then guess what? They're having more kids. Okay? They're having more kids. So yeah. So maybe having kids is beautiful. And I have it in my book. Yes, having children are beautiful, but they come from mutations. And yeah, and kids are very pathogenic, and they will create, the kids and the grannies are going to be the ones that create the new diseases. Those are the two very extreme ends of the spectrum when it comes to who are the ones that are actually creating the mutations. The people in the middle, not necessarily, but it's when you're born and then when you're dying is when those mutations are more prevalent and then more communicable, because your kids are like coughing all over each other, snotting everywhere, and then the elderly people are so sick and they're spewing out their stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to be mean, but it's true. That's why, they target the middle age. That's why, as soon as you hit 50, oh, AARP, oh yeah, time to retire, time to get you off this earth. You're disposable now because you're not of use anymore. And they're probably right. They're probably true. You're not of use anymore, because now it's like, what are you going to do? You're going to go have sex, right? And exchange fluids and create more diseases and then leave this earth and not fix any of the mutations. So let's change that, geriatric generation. I know you put your time in, but let's change that whole paradigm of just like, okay, I'm going to retire or I'm going to just, I don't know, not fix the mutations. Time to fix the mutations. It really is. But we know we can't legislate morals yet again. So what are we going to do? So science has to then keep up with the burgeoning, up and coming mutations. And then we have people like Jeff Holiday that doesn't understand this, that wants to make money off of slamming the hell out of me. Well, Jeff Holiday, you're not exactly aging beautifully, okay? You need to get on J-Juice so you can kind of get yourself out of a nice equilibrium. Maybe find another way to make money instead of slamming me and talking about Jilly Juice, because I know you ain't promoting me, so I'm sure you're slamming the shit out of me. But whatever, that's okay. Anyways, but that's it. That's all I'm going to say. I did I wrote, I have a 50-page paper that I sent off to Kevin and Bridget, and I really finally changed the tone of my paper. It's not from a conspiracy world anymore. It's not. And I did lose a few conspiracy friends. I really did. Because I did not want them to say that the AIDS virus did not exist at all. It was a made-up disease. Because I have people that have died from AIDS, and I have people that still deal with AIDS. And it is very real to them, and it's a very real type of thing. So you are denying AIDS, and you're in that conspiracy world, you need to up your J-Juice. You need to up the J-Juice. Seriously. I'm not in the business of diminishing someone that has those issues. I'm in the business of uncovering so we can now fix the mutations. So we're not seeing another vaccine schedule, because this is a reflection of humanity. When you see this is double, it shows how more mutated humanity is. Not because of this, it's because we're having children on mutated bodies. It's humanity sticking their head in the sand. So my portion of the book is going to reflect this thought process. And so, yeah, I'm losing my anti-vax people. I know it. I'm losing my pro-reproduction people. But I don't care, because you know what? My convictions, my morals, my ethics trump trying to please a specific audience. I could lose the mainstream because they're all about reproduction and all about this. I could lose all my conspiracy people, all my alternative mainstream. Okay, fine. I don't even care. I don't need to cater to a specific interest group to then get a following. I've got to stick with what it is that I am uncovering and stick with my convictions, stick with what I know to be true, stick with the truth as I know it from what I've been putting out there. No more activism, no more conspiracy, no more extreme, no extreme, stay in the middle and understand the reasoning behind the law. Because if you don't know the law, you believe all the stories. Jeff Holiday and all of his people don't know the laws. They believe all the stories, and that's what they're making money off of, is all the stories, and they're whipping all the imbalanced people into all this frenzy. And so they're stopping people from learning, or they're teaching them something totally, completely asinine. So, this is what I'm promoting, and I've made mistakes. Believe me, I've made some mistakes. There's some mistakes in here that I know, like as far as the injection circumventing the immune system, I'm going to take that out. Well, I will take it out at some point. But I'm going to be revisiting it in a different way in my next portion of the book. Okay. Hey, Kevin, I see Kevin just came on. So, so there are things, and like anything, anytime you research, you make these specific hypotheses and then you find all the evidence. And believe me, when I was in the conspiracy world about all the parasites, everybody in the world that I was in, the conspiracy world, were like, oh yeah, parasites are the reason for everything. And I think they are a factor that when you lower your immune system to where you're not inducing autophagy and kicking out those invaders, yes, then the parasites will then start wreaking havoc, yes. And then they also elicit antibodies because they're a foreign object, and then also causing a hormonal imbalance. And what else? And then you start seeing cancer. It causes cancer and all this stuff. So yeah, I could see where parasites, and then the whole thing with, with the whole, the 7 deadly sins and this, relating everything that hormones really have to do with it to the 7 deadly sins to parasites. So that's the perspective, and that was a great story, and we found all the evidence to support that. And so, so then I had to get away from the conspiracy world and come from a different, platform. And then I looked at the vax. Okay, well, we got to stop with the anti-vax, activism, because we're pushing everybody into the holistic world. And then, oh my God, the homeoprophylaxis, holy crap. What the hell? These are people who pretend to be anti-vax, but they're not. They're just pushing another antibody acquisition. So there was that peeling back the layers, the programming that I was doing. And then what happened from there, then I got away from that, then realized that, there's a reasoning behind the vaccine schedule. There's a reasoning behind it. Oh yeah, because people are mutated. Reproduction comes from mutations. So maybe the autism and all these different diseases that are blaming the vaccines for is because people are not taking care of themselves, and these diseases mutate into these crazy ass offshoots of each other. And this is why you see certain people with similar biochemistries come down with autism, lupus, fibromyalgia, obesity, mental illness, conspiracy world. Okay, so so you're gonna see now a complete freaking flip. But you guys watched me go through this process. You watched who it is I entertained. Okay, so those of you who've been around for a while have seen the evolution or the de-evolution of Jillian. Oh yeah, Krista, thanks. Yeah. Kevin, yeah, it's fun. Yeah, thanks, Krista. And then Kevin Van Rompuy says it's fun you mentioned that we blame parasites for, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, and I know that that's where Paki Savanius is coming from, which is fine because I understand that, but I'm going to give him more information because he doesn't follow me too closely because he's too busy having an amazing life. So I don't fault Paki for not following me very, very closely. And I think it's great that what he's doing, and he's doing amazing himself. And so is Kevin, and so is Krista. You guys are all like exemplifying what Jilly Juice is. You really are. And I really commend all of you for doing that, because this is exactly where we're trying to head, is that Krista has an amazing life doing her job, and your career photo or whatever, your business photo looks so beautiful. You just look amazing, Krista. oh my God, I'm so impressed. And Kevin, the way in which you are developing and in some of the thing that you introduced to me last night, that revelation about autophagy and your connection and your analogy was right point on. So it's like, and Bridget, she's going there, slowly but surely, and she needs to up the juice, and she is, but she's taking care of her business and she's figuring out what's going on in her world. I mean, I can't ask for anything more from you guys. I really can't. I mean, we all are developing in like the way that we want, and we're going to have a happy life. When you have a happy life, you have happy children, and you have a happy husband, happy family, and you're contributing, and you're not being part of all this crazy BS. Okay? This is exactly, what I want from you guys. Tiffany Lee Krim, thank you for all of your work. The book's here. Oh, good, good, good. Well, ignore the vaccine portion of it, but that's my mentality back then. But yes, the book is great. It really is. It really opens your eye on a lot of stuff. So, and you have the protocol, and you have my videos, and then you'll have the other book to then, Thanks, Tiffany. Thanks. And then Krista goes, thank you a lot. JJ made me healthy. My skin wasn't photoshopped either. I had makeup on, but I am doing so much better. That's great. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, you guys, I mean, my skin, I don't have to put any lotion on or anything. Took a shower this morning. I just used a shampoo from Walmart. I'm not worried about what the chemicals that are in there. I use shampoo from Walmart, and every couple of days I take a shower, and I don't take a shower every day, you guys, okay? Every couple of days, take a shower, because you don't need to take a shower every single day. And now if I was working, maybe potentially, because I'd be out there mixing with the public. But I'm at home for the most part, hanging out with my dog, typing, and doing whatever I do. So now I have to go and clean up this house a little bit, because it's almost Friday, and I got my book relatively done. So yeah, so you're going to see major changes in your biochemistry, and that's going to translate in your skin, your hair, your nails, your life, your thoughts, everything. Okay? So, I know I've lost a few people along the way. I know I've done a lot of purging, and there is a reason behind that, because, when you have so many people in your world that wants to dispute or wants to do whatever, or have their own ideas, which is great, but not on my Facebook, and they don't understand boundaries, I have to, do what I got to do. And that way I don't get triggered by the people that I know pretty well, that I've had on my Facebook for a while, and they're doing the J juice, but yet they're doing other stuff too, and I don't know. And so, if you have a different opinion than me, that's great. Just not on my Facebook, but if I see on my newsfeed and I see this, that I'm like, and I get triggered, I'm going to call you out. And not because I want to be, and I don't want to embarrass anybody. It's because it's an example. And, we've gone head to head. A lot of us have gone head to head, and we've come out on top. But yeah, I mean, everything that I see is an example, and I'll mention it so that way people understand, and they can see why it is that we have to be concerned about the measles on people who are very immunocompromised. Okay, when you're immunocompromised, it means that your immune system is compromised, where it doesn't have the antibodies to protect itself from pathogenic people. And so, yeah, babies are immunocompromised because they came from mutations. Elderly people are immunocompromised because they are heavily mutated over their course of a lifetime. So it's the people in the middle, the middle-aged people, who are the ones that have to find a way to protect themselves and protect the weak. But right now, we're not doing a very good job, hence the reason why the vaccine schedule is so long, because we have very mutated middle-aged people who are not protecting the babies or the elderly who are immunocompromised. And so when you are anti-vax and you're not strategic nutrition fixing the mutations, you are compromising the elderly and you're compromising the babies. This guy, Bo Kennedy, he's been commenting on my Facebook, and hopefully he'll hear this. I still am very programmed, okay? But I'm thinking Bo Kennedy's on the up and up, but it's hard for me to know. But he's like, yeah, JJ juice and vaccines. Yay. JJ juice and chemotherapy. Yay. And I'm like, and I never thought I would be okay with allowing someone to comment like that on my Facebook. Because a year or so ago, I would have been like freaking the hell out. And I think most of you who are still part of the anti-vax would freak the hell out if somebody said JJ juice and vaccines. I mean, look at how much bad press JJ juice has, and look at how much bad press the vaccines have. It's like, holy crap. I winced when I saw that, but then I'm like, you know what? It's so true. Because vaccines really represent protection antibodies relative to how you get it. It doesn't even matter, regardless of how you get it. It doesn't even matter. Whether it's from a person out there who's heavily mutated because they're not taking care of themselves, you're going to be exposed to a coal miner that has tuberculosis. Now, do you want to contract tuberculosis on your immunocompromised body because you're anti-vax and you're elderly or you're a baby? Or do you want to get some layer of protection so that way you're not coming down with a severe case of tuberculosis? So you're always going to be exposed. So vaccines are a representation of a layer of protection if you're not going to proactively take care of yourself. So when you said vaccines and JJ juice, it jolted me for a minute, but then I'm like, okay, what am I proposing here? And yeah, vaccines are a representation of a layer of protection if you're not going to protect yourself. So if you're not going to protect yourself, the government is going to do it for you. If you're not protecting your children, CPS is going to come in and protect your children for you. Okay? The government only steps in when they can't legislate morals and they see somebody exemplifying ignorance. And so this is how they view the anti-vaxxers who are still mutated and sick. So this is why the crackdown. Okay? But yeah, it jolted me for a minute when I did see Bo Kennedy say JJ juice and vaccines. I was like, oh, God. And then the whole thing with the chemotherapy, we don't love chemotherapy, but it has saved people. Now, can you afford? That's what the doctors have to do, Take care, Krista. That's what the doctors have to go and test for to make sure that you can afford the chemotherapy. Not everybody is a candidate for chemotherapy. Some people have to have targeted radiation. Some people have to have, they have to do cannabis or they have to do something else or who knows what. But, that's up for the doctor to decide. When you get to the point of where you have to give your body to science, you can't afford to bitch and complain. You can't tell somebody, well, you shouldn't get chemotherapy. Who are you? Who are you? You're nobody. You're not dealing with this disease. They are. They got to that point of being that mutated to where now they have to put their hands in somebody else's hands or put their body in somebody else's hands. They'll do whatever they got to do. But now we know better. We know that J juice it's a live drink. It has all the nutrients and the chemistry is right on par. It's a positive drink with a few negative elements that is the balance, which are the trace minerals. That's part of the elemental composition of the human body, is that you have the first 9 or 10 elements is your positive elements that the body needs predominantly, and then the last however many is all the trace minerals. Those are negative elements. Those are the heavy metals, the mercury, the fluoride, the aluminum, strontium, all that stuff. You breathe that. You're getting minerals from the air you breathe. Actually, they're helping you out up there, the chemtrails. The fluoride in the water is helping you out. Just drink the J juice. It'll then even everything out and counter any negative forces that overaccumulate. So you got the formula. There should be no issue. Okay? So that's why you don't be afraid of chemotherapy. That's why you don't be afraid of the vaccines. And I'll tell you what, if I'm jolted by hearing somebody say JJ juice and vaccines, then I can be sure as imagine how jolted some of you are when I mentioned that measles can be deadly to some people and that you shouldn't diminish the power of the measles on a very immunocompromised body, a baby, as well as grandma and anyone that's dealing with some kind of major cancer. So yeah, I know where you're coming from. I know how jolted some of you are. If I get jolted by something very, very minuscule as that, considering how much I've been flip-flopping around. So yeah, I'm not trying to win all these, I'm not trying to win I'm not trying to win a popularity contest because I'm not popular, especially since I've turned my back on the anti-vaxxers. So I know I'm not popular, but guess what? I don't really give a shit. At this point, I don't even care. I'm going to speak the truth based upon science. If that's not popular, then you know what? Then I guess you all will just have to die then and deal with your cancer, disease, and chronic illness and play in your little pills, powders, and supplements and whatever, and be on that death trajectory and mutate and then wonder why it is your life sucks. Okay, fine. But that's not my problem. It's yours. All right. Y'all have a good one. Thanks a lot for listening. And Tiffany, if you want to send us an email, and if you did already, and then we'll give you a login and password, and you can look at the discussion forum and ask questions. Or not, it's up to you. But there's that opportunity for you. Okay. All right. I will talk to you guys later. You have a good one. Thanks for listening. Bye.